kind of in the same vein as updating in the doors and updating the learning facilities, over the past year and a half, we've done a huge overhaul of kind of the building and trying to figure out exactly what we can do to the building to ensure that the environment really reflects the great things that are happening in the classrooms. Over last summer, we painted the entire school to try to kind of make it a little bit more brighter. We put up student pictures and student work and tried to make it a little bit more welcoming, a little bit more streamlined. There was a lot of clutter in the hallways and things like that that we've kind of tried to steer away from. The new gym floor was installed, which is a beautiful and wonderful addition to our facilities. We installed hallway storage, which was all last summer. So all of those new cabinets that went in last summer. We've been installing new cubbies and kind of piece by piece into the classrooms to ensure that students can organize their things and that things are a little bit neater and their learning space is a little bit more orderly to help them be creative and chaotic on what they're exploring and not where their stuff is. And then that will kind of happen in phase 2 over the summer as we install the new cubbies in the upper grades and the lockers for the middle school as well. We've been able to, with the support of the PA, kind of make a lot of these improvements, and I'll talk a little bit later about how we're hoping to make that a little bit more sustainable, because I think we're kind of over the hump of there's these huge fires that we need to put out to make sure that we are safe and secure and a healthy school, and now we want to really look at where we can grow and how we can maintain that kind of level that we've risen to. Over the summer and in the coming months, as you know, we will be building the new library. We'll be turning the 5th floor into 2 extra classrooms. We are hoping either this summer or in the coming months in kind of phase 2 of a construction project to start to kind of revamp that lobby and welcoming space downstairs. The office area, trying to kind of make things a little bit more modern, a little bit more kid-friendly, a little bit more welcoming than I think that they are now. So that's kind of the next phase of that, as we kind of look at things that the building needs to do. And to that point, we're very thankful for the church hall and the ability to use that. We've been able to use it this year and kind of have started slowly moving into it. The pre-K4 classes have been doing playtime down there and having a little bit more recess time, which I think has been incredible for them, just to kind of get a little bit more active in the morning. We were able to have our high school fair downstairs. We hosted the entire district on the Upper West Side. All of the Catholic schools came, all Catholic elementary schools came, and almost every Catholic high school in Manhattan came. 18 schools. There was a couple from different boroughs as well, and we were really able to kind of showcase that space and show our students kind of the possibilities for high school that we were really excited about. We were able to put the lights outside to make it a little bit brighter and safer when students are leaving in the winter, and it gets dark a little bit earlier. The warning men that are outside at the garage, we were able to kind of make that a warning so that students can be a little bit more aware, and parents and families as well. And we are excited that the speed bump finally went in, although the speed bump is in the wrong place. So we are working with the DOT to change that. So, you know, like I said, we've come a long way, but we're not necessarily there yet. So at least we know that people are slowing down on 70th Street. We're hoping that they'll be slowing down before they get to the school in the coming months. But they've been a lot more responsive and helpful to some of those requests that we've made to make sure that we're really keeping everything safe outside. Finally, in terms of just our Catholic identity and our Catholic faith, I think I've been incredibly humbled by the growth and the leadership that our students have started to take in their faith journeys. Those of you who were here this past weekend for First Communion know it was a beautiful, gorgeous celebration and completely led by the students. It was their show. You know, they were leading in song and they were reading and they were presenting the gifts, and I'm excited to see that at confirmation this weekend. And I was kind of chatting with a friend who also works in Catholic education, and I said that the biggest excitement for me was that it wasn't this one-off thing. It wasn't just First Communion. It was a beautiful celebration, and then it was over, and then we went back to what we normally do. It was really kind of a shift and a change that I think we're seeing in students as they're leading assembly in the morning, and they're starting to take ownership over the masses, and monthly that they're leading the masses, and they're reading, and the choir, and I think that students are really starting to really explore their faith in a new way, which I'm really excited about. And I think that the presence of Father Dufell and Father Ernest and their leadership and guidance has been very helpful, kind of bringing that to life. And I'm excited to kind of continue that in the coming year. I'm thankful for all of you and all of your support this year. I don't think any of this would have been possible without you and without your partnership and your commitment and, quite frankly, your trust, because I know that it's a big decision where you leave your children every day. It's a big decision on who you kind of choose to partner with and raising your children. And so I'm very humbled and grateful for all of you. I'm looking forward to 2016, 2017, not only for another great year with all of you, but to also have a partner in leadership, which I'm really looking forward to. We are making some changes next year that are kind of, I think, necessary to the sustainability, like I said, to ensure that all of these great things that we've done are continuing. In the coming weeks, there will be a publication about not only the tuition, but of some of the fees that we're gonna need to implement to make sure that we can keep this level going. I think that if you look at what we have raised money for and invested in with our fundraising money over the past few years, they've been great developments to our program, and they've raised the level, but some of them were really things that you should have in a school. You know, we shouldn't have to fundraise for security. We shouldn't have to fundraise so that the teachers have computers to do work and bring lessons to life on. And that's something that I think that although it's a challenge and we want to keep Catholic school affordable, and it's still my commitment to do so, we do need to look at implementing some fees to ensure that we can keep the great work that we're doing going and not be stalled by our big fundraisers at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And I'm open to feedback on that, and I'm open to working with families who may have trouble with those fees and may have trouble contributing that, and I'm sensitive to that, and I don't want it to be ever a reason that anyone would not be able to come to Blessed Sacrament, but we'll work together to kind of make that manageable for your individual family. There will also be a couple of changes in dismissal time next year. So grades 3 to 5 will dismiss at 3 p.m. next year, which is only really a change for our friends who are going into the 3rd grade. And our middle school will dismiss at 3:15. So in order to create some of that space for them to still have the quality educational program and some of those breaks to have recess time and enrichment time, we're gonna give them 15 minutes of extra instructional time a day. And then there won't be a change to the younger grades. They'll stay at 2:30. There's also a new report card coming out. That's coming directly from the Archdiocese. That's Archdiocesan wide. We should, in the coming weeks, have more information on what that actually looks like in terms of publishing what your individual class will look like. But those report cards, essentially, they're moving in the direction of standards-based grading, which I think that for our community won't really be that big of a shift. I think that all of you know from conversations with your teachers and whether that's informal feedback that you're getting from your teachers or whether it's what's happening in the conferences, the standards-based grading approach is really focusing on individual learning goals that students have from September to June. And the feedback will be a little bit more that here's where they are in the learning process, as opposed to you get a 70% or you get a 60% or you get an 80%. Those numbers will still exist, but there'll be a little bit more color behind them. And what you'll see in the coming weeks as we kind of work through Q4 is the teachers trying out some different, I want to say tricks, but different tools to help make that a little bit more transparent for you. Things like you'll see a lot more I can statements, which essentially are the standard reworked so that your child knows what they're learning. I can write my name if you're in the pre-K, or I can identify all my colors up until 8th grade, where it's I can analyze a text using X, Y, and Z. So you'll start to see those coming up on your students' work. You'll start to see some assessment covers and things like that coming up as well that will give you a little bit more color behind what standards they're actually working on for different projects and different things. A lot of what we're already doing, but just being a little bit more intentional about it, to set up for the new report card that will be coming out in the fall. And I think that that's it. So yes.